Welcome. This is the Diplomats podcast, Rona edition. As you can see, we cannot be with each other. We are practicing as best as we can to social distance ourselves. You have me, Eric Cummings, the youngest. You got Rucker, you got Kyla, and you got our main girl, Crystal, on there.
Rucker is the old.
That's why God don't like you. It slowed you down. God don't like ugly. That's why I slowed you down. It was like Rucker is.
Whatever. Rucker's the oldest. Was that quick? Was that fast?
That was better.
That was way better.
And more accurate.
Oh.
So yeah, we just wanted to give y'all an episode. We couldn't come together, but we're here now. Shout out to Zoom, who I bet is making a whole bunch of money right now.
Money.
Man.
Social distancing. You're welcome, Lori Lightfoot.
My cute.
Lori Mo.
Auntie Lori.
She out here too. Listen,
Lori not playing.
The second you step outside, guess who's standing outside with that suit?
With her hands folded.
Listen.
What you finna do?
On
Get
phone
back in the house.
On stone.
Get back in the house.
So I just had a question, like, how has this social distancing been going for you guys? Like, I know for me, I'm an ambivert, so I like to be outside and inside, but right now,
Wait. Hold
No
on.
such thing as no.
Grambling State University graduate? I'm an ambivert.
Wait, what was the word he used?
Ambulam?
Documentary.
Listen, that wasn't on the video, so it didn't happen.
Documentary. So
We're going to watch this documentary on Malcolm X.
He knows ambivert, amber alert, whatever the word he just said.
Documentary.
But he don't know documentary. He said it's a documentary.
All right.
It means it's a piece of paper that you wait. Documentary. Got it. Proceed, brother. Proceed.
Continue.
I see you with your arms out. I see you.
You see?
How we
know,
show a little muscle.
you know,
Where is it?
Oh my goodness.
you gotta look close. You gotta, it's like right there.
Nope.
No.
No. Well, that's what I've been doing during Rona season. I've been working out, I actually been cooking more because, I can't go out. I can't be going to people's houses to like get a plate.
Didn't you just get some tacos a couple days ago?
Huh? Okay.
Drive through.
On your bike.
Walk through.
Didn't you just ride a bike? Was a drive-through?
Walk
I
through.
did. And there was some great tacos. And I'll do it again if Lori wasn't looking for me. So I'm trying to keep a low profile right now. So
Profile, okay.
Y'all hear me?
Working from home.
Kyla, you got your mic plugged in?
No, I gave the mic to Eric.
Oh, because I can't hear you that well.
You can't hear me.
Yeah, you have to get closer.
let's get closer.
Close. Yeah. This is what this Rona has done to us.
Let's get closer. Hey. Is that better?
That is.
So this Rona has, so all of us are working from home. We probably have been working from home for the last, for me, I think it's been 3 weeks. I'm going on the 4th week. It's a little difficult when the kids are here, but when no one is here, it's fine. But it is very quiet. It is very eerie and strange that, when I want to go somewhere, I can't go somewhere. But when I don't want to go somewhere, it'd be open season.
Kyla,
I'll
pick you.
Rucker's been outside every day.
I have not been. Okay,
day.
let's just stop this right now. I have not been. Auntie Lori. Well, first of all, I don't live in the city, so Lori can't do nothing to me anyway. But I have not been outside every day. I have been outside
every day. You see Eric is taking a swig of water
frequently
every day.
But what they won't tell you though is when I'm out, they'll be like, "Can you pick up me some?"
You might as well.
I heard brown sugar. Can you pick up me a piece of cake or?
Might as well make it worth our while.
Every day. So if we have to stay quarantined for another month, blame
I'm not. What? When I go out, I am not going out. I was telling the group last week that I went out to the grocery store and I was actually getting essentials. And there was a couple in front of me standing in line and they were not getting essential. The dude had like 3 slices of cheese. The woman had a potted tulip. And they had like one other thing. Clearly, this is not essentials because there's people behind us and in front of us with like groceries, cleaning supplies, stuff like that. And they was like, you know what, let's brave this Rona because I'm going to get a tulip that I can't really buy.
Sure did. And planted them too.
But I'm sure you got them along with groceries or essentials.
Oh, yeah.
So there you go.
I go to the grocery store like every 3 or 4 days to pick up stuff.
Oh, but I'm out.
That don't make no sense.
Okay.
I can't be in the house. Like, first of all, I am an introvert, so I don't mind being in the house all the time. But I need to go somewhere.
Gotta break.
So the only place I go is the store. Today for Easter, I wanted to make an Easter dinner, so I went to the store to grab some essentials like lamb and other stuff. And
The Lamb of God. Amen. The Lamb of God.
On
understand
this Easter resurrection.
The Lamb of God.
I have to hop in and get it, flip it a little bit because I'm smoking it.
Okay, so are you being safe though? Because the grocery store is the most dangerous place currently. So are you being safe?
So I have a lot.
Are you asking the biggest germaphobe that all of us know? Is she being? I'm surprised she's not working around in a Tyvek suit right now.
I like sanitize all the time. I like when I wipe down the cart, I like hold on to that little wipe while I'm going around. And when I touch stuff afterwards, I'm sanitizing my hands, but I don't have a mask on.
Mm-hmm.
That's like the only thing, or a bandana. Like I don't.
I just got.
However, today somebody touched me at the store.
Oh no, I don't even want to be on this call no more.
So they touched me. So I was like going around and I was grabbing some macaroni and she was grabbing macaroni. So I was like, oh, excuse me, because she was gonna keep going and I'm not. So I'm like, excuse me, my bad. And then she touched me. She was like, it's okay, baby. I was like,
ma'am.
Fight.
Why are you touching me?
She don't have the news. She don't watch it. She don't watch it.
You don't care.
That's pretty.
Oh,
that's what we become, though, right? Because in a normal environment, in a normal time, it would have been like, oh, okay, cool. You touch me, okay, cool. But now it's like people are squaring up on sight.
On sight.
Touch me.
Absolutely. Don't touch me, bro. Like, move back.
Gotta remember, it's
so close.
You also got to remember it's Kyla. Kyla don't like being touched, so she was already ready. And then it's just a little extra.
Already on 10.
But then you can't fight because you got to put some hands on somebody. You ain't trying to put hands on them.
Listen, I had to go to the grocery store today, and it was full of anxiety because I've been using Instacart. Shout out to Instacart. We need you to pay us. Thank
you. Or we will change the name.
Listen, I've been using Instacart, but I had to go to the store today. Everybody and their mama was at the store today. I'm like, what have y'all been doing these? No one was prepared for Easter. Clearly, I wasn't either, but that's not the point.
No, we all weren't. We were all like, no, I think because your president said things were going to end come Easter.
We were supposed to be back by Easter.
We were supposed to be back by Easter, and then here's today, Easter. And I guess we should go to the store.
Everybody was at the store today.
Everybody.
And it was not a lot of people with masks on, not a lot of people with gloves on, not a lot of people wiping down their carts. And I'm like, okay, so y'all taking Rona for a joke, okay? Stay away from me, though. That's fine. Be great.
Away from me.
Just be great. Away from me. I don't have a mask, but I did use a scarf and I tied it around my face. I look like a ninja. I don't care. I'm alive though. And then I did not have any gloves, but I had an extra pair of cleaning gloves. So I was walking around with these big orange Ask me if I care, though.
You don't.
I'm alive. How about it?
Today.
But I don't like going to the store anymore because now my anxiety, like I have to wipe everything off. Like, here is my boo. I keep it close. I call him Rocky. Okay. This is my quarantine bae. And I have to sit and wipe off everything that I bring into the house. And it's just too much. And so I've been losing weight because I'm just not finna eat. Like I just won't eat.
So there are certain stores that have been very vigilant with social distancing.
Mariano's is one of them.
So, we've all gone to the stores and we see the little tape on the floor or on the concrete outside to say 6 feet. I went to Trader Joe's the other day and they were literally monitoring the number of people in the store. I think the directive was like, you can't have more than 10 people for gatherings, but like 150 for like those type of places like grocery stores or stores like that. They had this Russian dude working the door, and Sergey was he wanted all that smoke if you wanted to go with it. He was only letting, like, one person would come out, he'd be like, come again, come in. One person go in. And then as you were going in, he had like spray and wipes, and he was spraying down the handles of the car and wiping the handles and then handing it to you.
Listen.
And he made you take the cart.
Yep.
Listen.
Because he said the cart provides social distancing. 6 feet. I was like, I don't need a car. He's like, take cart. I was like, all right, I got it. No doubt. You're right, Sergey. I did need a cart. After all, thank you. I appreciate it.
Don't give him a hard time, Rucker. Let him do his job.
I was glad he was doing that. You got some people, some grocery stores. I'm not gonna name no names, but they're close to us out in these suburbs. You probably know.
I'll name it.
What's the name of it?
Jewel.
All right, well, that's one of them.
And all this.
I was talking about Pete's.
Oh.
They got to do it at the front, like, come on in. I don't need it.
No.
I don't need it no more. I don't need it.
No, facts though. Facts.
Cover your nose, Eric. There you go.
Oh, okay. Oh, no.
Facts.
Oh, that's horrible. At Mariano's, I was using the self-checkout. As soon as one person was done, the lady came back and was wiping everything down.
That's good. Wipe the keypads down. Wipe it all down.
Go, ma'am.
Amen.
Okay, I felt like this was Chick-fil-A. Well, bless you.
I want to tip her. Because she cares.
And they are literally putting themselves in harm's way every day because I'm sure they are coming into contact with somebody who's been in contact or who has it or whatever.
Man, shout out to the essential workers right now. That's
all.
To the real essential workers, yes.
We see you.
Not the real one.
I mean, there's some people like...
Rucker is so disrespectful.
No, I'm serious. Like, so y'all, what do y'all consider essential then?
Liquor store workers.
And I don't have to say no more. She said she led off with liquor store, and she's confirming it. Wow.
I mean, but what I think is so disrespectful is
that Ciroc? What is he drinking?
He's drinking
water.
Oh, okay. Go ahead.
What I think is so disrespectful is that a lot of these people, like one of my friends made an excellent point. I was one of those people, and I'm okay to say it. I was one of those people that side-eyed the McDonald's employees when they were doing all that for their raise. Give them people what they asking for. Because I ain't seen one short McDonald's line since this whole You Dig has started. Y'all still going getting these fake nuggets and these imitation fish sandwiches, okay? So give these people what they need. It's not okay.
Wendy's workers.
Okay.
Look, them Popeyes workers, I saw a commercial. They sliding the food out on a cart on the tray.
Are they actually using it?
They using the tray to slide the food out.
Listen, give these people what they need. people working at these airports.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I'm saying? Like,
nobody's getting on a flight. But.
So they are essential, but the problem I have, so everybody, the president has said shelter in place. First of all, he's been very reactive.
He said shelter in place. He said it.
No, well, he said a lot of stuff. A lot of BS was said. He's very, very bad. But anyway, so basically he's followed the lead of governors, mayors, as opposed to taking the lead as the president of the United States and say, this is what we all finna do.
Right.
And certain states were just getting tired of waiting for him to say, look, he ain't doing nothing, so I'm just going to shut my state down, or I'm going to shut my town down, or whatever. And so he's been very reactive. Like, you shut down, if you're going to shut down travel, shut it all down. Don't say you just shutting it down, international travel for 30 days. Like, do you understand that this virus is in every single state in the United States of America?
And people are dying.
And we just recycling it. Like, shut the travel down.
We going from one state to the next, spreading germs.
Yeah.
I guess his thought is like, oh, we don't want to hurt the economy. Too late. It was going to hurt the economy anyway. It's a freaking pandemic. So,
and I have a friend that works for the airport, and he was saying that one of the flights that he transports the luggage on and off the flight. And so he was saying that he's been seeing a lot of baby strollers that are not covered. Like, people are just checking the strollers. And he's just like, do y'all not understand like how nasty it is underneath an airplane? And I'm just putting uncovered strollers underneath the airplane. And he just made a message on Facebook the other day, like, please, like, you're not safe. Like,
put it in a bag, yeah.
Put it in a bag, you know. So it's still, and this was as soon as late as last week, people still traveling.
And for him, because he's at risk every
day. And then they're not getting the same health benefit as other people who are essential. You know, like, if you feel like you have the symptoms, they'll give you some additional time, leave time. No, you got to take whatever you got.
Oh, wow.
If you ain't got it.
If you don't got it, then you.
Wow. So
that's crazy.
My company created a leave policy specifically for that, because just for that very reason, that some people may not have PTO or vacation stored or sick time where they can use it, God forbid, if they get sick. So it's like, you got to do something. You got to provide something.
Nope.
And like,
nope.
I'm not taking no disrespect. I got family and friends out there. I'm not taking no flights from New York as a baggage handler. I'm not taking no international flights from Italy as a baggage handler. Nope. I quit. I quit. Bags come off the conveyor belt coffin. Nope. Not doing it.
Not the bag coffin.
I'm going to use something to like kick it.
I'm done.
For real. So I think this whole situation, I think, is interesting because, of course, this is something that our parents never dealt with. Our grandparents never dealt with it. So nobody knows what to do. Nobody knows when this will end or really have any type of words of encouragement or, you know. And so I think that it's a good thing because it allows people to really see their companies and corporations for who they really are. Mm. And I, for sure, will be looking at a lot of these jobs like, y'all, we finna protest or something. Like, I just feel like some of these organizations just not okay. Like, I'm essential now. You only pay me $10. Now I'm essential. Now my life is essential for you to continue. No, bro. Like, I know people.
And then if I get sick, SOL. I'm SOL. Good luck.
Good luck. I'm praying for you. Even these postal workers, I don't think it's okay. I don't think it's okay. Like, you can't tell me this ComEd bill is that important. I don't want the bill. Keep it at the post office.
Especially if you're contacting.
It's 2020. How come people don't have, and I'm not counting people that just, I don't know. It should be a lot of people that have like electronic billing.
Should be.
But beyond that, all of these companies are saying, hey, if you need relief, we'll postpone your bills, your credit cards, your utilities, your car loans, your house loans, and all this other stuff. And it's like, okay, we'll see. Hey, I applied. Sure did. I sure did. I'm still getting paid because I'm working from home. I need relief. I need all the relief I can get.
Because you got all these kids at home, and they got to eat.
They eat. All they do is eat.
Y'all, Rucker got 25 kids.
I don't have 25. I am not that dude.
Rucker is Denise Clark.
Wow.
They all coming up at a funeral.
They all coming up in the front of the church.
So do not believe that lie. I have 3 children. I don't need women's groups coming up against me. So you just out here not taking care.
In the last, how many days, Kyla? The last 3 days, Eric has seen 4 Black films.
It's been more than that, right?
It's been more. It might have been more.
Let's share the movies that you've been seeing.
List them.
Share the movies you've watched.
Well,
you wrote it down, didn't you? That's sad.
I did. I have a Rona list of what I watched. The Players Club.
Hey, we be clubbing.
Okay.
Yeah.
School Days.
Who? School Days. Okay.
Eve's Bayou.
Did you pray after that? Because I had to go to the Lord in prayer in my closet. That thing got some demons.
I was so confused. I'm like,
but you needed to see it.
Your sister Juicy Smollett was in that movie.
What else?
Boomerang.
Wow.
Movie.
The Last Dragon.
Oh, Bruce Leroy. Come on, this is my Converse.
And Jason's Lyric.
Oh,
wow.
6 movies.
I knocked out 6 movies.
Good job, sir. We are proud of you because
I'm not proud. You need to do better.
Oh wow.
Because I saw you posting about DC and Marvel, and that needs to be put in the back burner because you need to watch more movies about the culture because you haven't seen zero.
I've seen some. Whoa. I've seen.
He hasn't seen The Wood, guys. He hasn't seen The Wood.
Hold on.
He hasn't seen
BET.
House Party.
Hold on.
1, 2, 3, or 4.
Let me say this. I have seen movies. Maybe I don't watch them from beginning to end because my disclaimer is I didn't have cable when I was younger.
But you watched them.
Whoa.
How did you see the end?
How did you see the end?
Because it used to show on television, and it used to be the extra clean version.
I'm confused.
But you still only saw a portion of the movie, so you were able to see something, right?
So at a point, you was like, all right, I'm gone. I ain't finna watch this no more.
No, I always caught movies at the end. I always caught it at the end. And then my parents were overprotective of what I
So what happened when you were at Grambling?
You know, and this is the other thing. You know, it's other movies coming out.
Rush.
I'm trying to catch up. I got nothing but time. So I'm going to catch up.
Well, Eric, I'm proud of you. Okay.
Thank you.
Now, the reality is you still need to be able to have watching the movies is one thing. But if I say something, like whenever I say he's a good man, Savannah, I need you to know where that's from.
The reference. You got to know the reference. Or you have to be able to finish whatever line she's quoting.
Yeah.
You know.
So this kind of started. So as with this Rona,
give the history.
Nightly, we've been jumping on the House Party app.
Shout out to that app.
Shout out the House Party app. And we've been talking. And so some of Crystal's sorority sisters have been perplexed at Eric's lack of knowledge. Shout out to Megan. Shout out to T. Shout out to Nicole. Shout out to all the ladies of what'd you call the sorority, Eric?
What was the name of it?
Just finish what you were saying.
Delta Phi Delta.
He said Delta Phi Delta from School Days. We still working on him, y'all. Be patient.
Oh, man.
God is not through with him yet.
But Crystal is.
Chris was definitely through. And so are the ladies of Delta Phi Delta, right?
Delta Phi Delta.
By Delta.
So we've been getting on House Party, and we talked to this. Okay,
It was a
that didn't. Don't do that no more, especially on a video call, because we don't do that no more, sir. This is PG. Sir. All right, so I'm uncomfortable now. We were talking to one of Crystal's sorority sisters, and we were telling her that Eric hasn't seen like 100 level black movies.
Not 100 level.
And she was in denial at first, but then Eric came through, showed us that he did not know 100 level.
proved her wrong.
Proved her wrong.
You proved it right.
No, he proved her wrong because initially she thought like there's no way.
She thought we were lying. She thought we were being
mean to Eric. Eric is always getting picked on the podcast, and he showed and proved. So I'm proud of him for that. And so that's what prompted Eric to start culturizing. I'm gonna make up a word. Culturizing himself in the black movie genre, and we just want him to keep going because there's a lot of movies that you would think Eric has seen. I ain't seen them.
No, not one.
No, not one. TV shows as well.
I'm working.
We won't even get into music, but that's another thing. But it's a good start.
I know that one.
A good start.
And I mean, it's important because, back then, and I know Tiana, shout out to Tiana, a fan of the podcast, she made a good point that when she was in college, all they had was 6 hours of BET.
Yep.
Like, that's all they had. The school didn't give them anything, any other type of black film or any type of television that showed them culturally.
And it was during class. So
right.
They essentially missed those
half
hours.
So, and it wasn't that long ago. We're not talking 30 or 40 years
right.
ago either. It wasn't that long ago.
It wasn't that long ago. So we do this to Eric because we want Eric, being that he works with young black children, we want you to be a true pioneer of the culture. Okay? And if you don't know quotes from The Last Dragon, I don't trust you.
Catches bullets with his teeth?
I don't trust you.
And see, this is the only culture we have. We were stolen or taken from the main culture that we had. So we had to create our own culture. So when people don't know the culture that we have created, Eric,
you got a responsibility, sir.
You got a responsibility. Now, nobody's saying that these are award-winning films.
No.
That's not what I'm saying.
Some of them are complete trash. Let's just be honest.
Cult classics. Cultural classics.
Yeah. You're not going to sit up here and act like they're Academy Award winning.
It's cool. I've never watched any of these movies.
They're not. But I'm rooting for everybody black. So,
absolutely.
So keep it up.
Y'all remember that scene?
Huh?
Y'all remember that scene from Tyler Perry's Family Reunion when the old woman comes out and she says, "I want to see my family." Y'all remember that scene? That's how I feel right now. That's how I feel right now.
I want to see.
She walked out the door. You know what I'm talking about? Yeah. Eric, do you know?
Have you seen Soul Food, though? Moving on.
You don't know who Big Mama is.
Not just the movie, but a couple episodes of the show, of the series.
Big Mama is.
Showtime.
TV show?
Wait, what?
Wasn't it on Showtime?
Yeah.
It was on BET.
Did he say was that a show?
Okay, so I have a question. Did you ever watch 106 in Park?
Like, I didn't watch the.
Don't rush. Don't touch. Eric don't know much. He just don't be watching stuff.
I'm back. So you don't know who Free and AJ is?
I do. like I know, like I still do history. Like I read up on like 106.
Wait, whoa.
Like I know the stuff.
History, like this was a slave trade. What are you talking about, sir?
Like, I know who. Like
Yeah.
when I started watching, when I was gonna watch like 106 in Park, that was when like was it AJ? No, Terrence Howard. No, not Terrence Howard. What's his name?
Terrence Howard wasn't on there, man.
Terrence J.
Terrence J.
Terrence J, man.
That's when
Terrence Howard, I know it's hard out here for a pimp.
Say, man, y'all want these videos?
Hustle and Flow.
Have you watched that?
The whole thing?
The whole thing.
All right.
Okay, but no, I'm not okay. I'm not
I
okay.
haven't watched 106 in Park.
I'm not okay.
Because
You know who Big Tigger is?
yes,
Kids
like
on the street.
Not the cartoon, sir. Not the cartoon.
Cedar's World.
You know who See the World is?
Cedar's World. College Hill.
Yeah, I didn't.
VH1 Soul, Donnie Simpson. This segment brought to you by
CLR. Eric.
I'm so sorry.
So when you got to college, by the way, let's remind our listeners, Eric went to an HBCU.
Grambling State University.
When you went to college,
Grambling, Louisiana.
Yeah.
you didn't have BET?
I did have BET, but I didn't watch it. I mean, I only watched BET.
Do you know how hard Tiana had to fight for the students
Of the University of Iowa.
University to get
Listen.
BET for more than 6 hours, sir, and you had it readily available to you to watch all the documentaries that you wanted about black people?
And watch Jack. Bebe's Kids was on BET.
He ain't never seen Big Baby's Kids.
All the Friday come on every other day on BT. It was at least.
I mean,
Okay, so
Uncut.
game.
Uncut.
you watched the game?
I watched the game on BET.
Okay, I'm okay with that.
Uncut.
You didn't white girl, you know, saw that.
Going through my mind.
There's always
white
there's also another song.
tip drill.
That
Girl,
was-
that must be it, cause it ain't your face. I need it. Okay.
Wait. Girl, forget that bottom, cause the girl got a big old dolly.
These
you,
are
don't
all,
know you don't know none of these
there's
songs.
another one called the lyrics go, I'm trying to
Trying to
kick it
kick it
tonight.
So baby, tell me what that
What that
thing
thing smell like. This was on BT back in the day, by the way.
I don't recall that one.
Sniffing fingers.
Yeah.
I don't recall that.
Way
What
to
that
the-
thing smell like was actual. So none of
None of that ring a bell.
All right. Well,
Yeah, that's the shelter life and
all right. But you were at Grambling, sir. You had access to BET.
So what did you watch at Grambling?
you know,
Like, what was the big thing that y'all did together in the dorm?
we watched the game
Okay.
before it got really like
Randy
so
was
popular.
in the game, so it kind of fell off, huh?
Yeah, once it fell off, it was like, it's over. You know, I was out a lot. You know, I didn't stay in the room. I didn't have a TV at first. That's the one thing. I didn't go down with the TV.
Y'all didn't have a TV in a common area.
See, no, the way our dorms was set up to where you have 4 roommates, there's 4 people in a room, and you have a living area in there, and somebody has to bring a TV or bring something, but nobody brought a TV, so.
Oh, you didn't live in a real dorm. You
Yeah.
lived in a suite.
I mean, but that was half the campus now. The campus came up.
Apparently, if they ain't got TVs.
You didn't live in like a high rise
They took
Right.
it on the highway.
where you go to the lobby.
College project.
television,
Right. You had a much better living experience than I did.
They
and
took
then
away
there
the
was
high rises though.
cafeteria.
Me
They
too.
took away the high rises because they said people kept on committing suicide, so they was like knocking them down. So by the time I got there, like when I got there, I'm like, what is wrong with this building? And it was already coming down, and that's what I found out. Like people,
Should have had a demon.
yeah,
My oil.
once.
Let me get my oil. I'll be back.
You gonna sprinkle it over
I got it, Chris.
Grambling. Sure.
So yeah, there's no building
Oh.
taller than three
Thank you.
floors.
We don't need to
So you didn't have a
for
TV.
this conversation.
You didn't have a TV in your room because none of your 3 roommates brought it and you didn't bring it. So at some point you got a TV.
Yeah,
Didn't you have a computer with some internet? You went to school in the 2010s, didn't you?
2008.
Y'all had computers with the internet, right?
Yeah, but that's when those Marvel movies started coming out, and so I was all into that. I love Marvel movies and DC stuff. But I.
Okay, well, just try to
I
stay
don't
on
want to talk about this anymore.
with these. What'd you say, Chris?
I don't want to talk about this anymore. I've had enough.
Well, enough. So, yeah, just keep on.
Keep on trucking, baby.
Yeah, keep on. On.
That's why I appreciate this downtime because it's a lot of time spending with the Lord, and at the same time, when I'm not talking to Him, I'm watching these movies for the culture. So it's a balance.
We shall see. We shall see.
We're
gonna be quizzing you. Yeah. For
We're gonna continue quizzing you on these movies. So when you're watching them, be sure to soak it in, study, put your phone down so you can pay attention to what I'm saying.
I'm listening.
Study these movies.
Because we're gonna be throwing lines at you.
Mm-hmm.
Did you watch Coming to America recently too?
Not recently, but I've seen it multiple times.
That movie is heavy quote. Has heavy quote.
Queen.
No, you're already wrong. She's your queen to be.
Yeah, he can't be.
I personalize.
Did he say he's my queen? Is that what he said?
That she's my queen to be.
I just wanted to know what you said.
Well.
Okay, Eric, go ahead. Next.
What's next on the docket, sir?
I don't know. I'm scared it might just turn into a 20-minute conversation talking about me.
You brought it on yourself.
The Last Dragon.
You're doing this on purpose.
Yeah, he's trying to get up underneath our skin. I see it.
Okay, Eric, what's next?
Touche.
So you guys know this is April, the month of April, and we celebrate different things, but this time we're going to talk about something a little bit serious. This is for April 19th through the 25th. It's National Infertility Week. So we have Kyla here, one part of the Diplomats podcast. She's going to share a little bit of her journey about this month.
Yes. So, hi. I wanted to talk about this week, or talk about infertility, because this is something that I have experienced, and I think it's something that's been pretty silent in the Black community. So, I wanted to just spread some type of awareness about it. I was diagnosed with polycystic ovarian syndrome, or PCOS, in 2017, I think. What that means is I have a difficulty ovulating because I don't have a period. And this is something that I noticed, like, I didn't get a period, and I was very, very, very irregular growing up. But it didn't really cause any concern for me until I wanted to have children. So I went to a doctor, and then they sent me to a fertility specialist to get more testing and stuff done. And that's when I found out that I have PCOS. So I have difficulty ovulating, which in turn causes difficulty trying to have children. So during that, I had to have some, my husband and I decided to go through a couple of different things. The first thing we tried was IUI, which is intrauterine insemination. which is less invasive. What it is they give you a lot of hormones. So I had to take some shots and stuff to kind of prime my body and get it ready for pregnancy. And then they took my husband's Yadig and just put it in me to see if I could have
Technical terms.
I know. I'm sorry. So if you want me to be technical, they inserted his semen inside of me to see if it'll travel to my uterus or through my uterus so that I can have a child. Just like that. Exactly like that, actually. And so I did 2 rounds of that and it was unsuccessful. Well, the first time actually, the first time resulted in a miscarriage. Then I did it again and it was unsuccessful. So then after that, I did something more invasive, which is IVF, in vitro fertilization.
What was the time frame from that to the?
Sure. So I think I started IUI. I think my first round was like late April because it was around Mother's Day of 2017. And then I did another round shortly after that. Because they have to like try to get your cycle to come, and then once your cycle comes, then they start you on medication and all of that so that it can just get your body ready to pretend like because my body does not drop an egg. That's why a period comes, like your eggs drop, and then that's when it turns into like the lining and your period and all of that. Well, I don't have any eggs. Like my body is not my brain is not signaling my body to drop any eggs. So my first one was around Mother's Day. I had an early miscarriage, and then the second one was probably around June or July, and then I did another one. So I think I did 3 rounds of IUI, and they were all unsuccessful. They wanted to try another round, and I was like, I don't want to do this anymore if, we're testing it and we're seeing that the more often I try to do IUI, which is less invasive, but the more frequent I do that, the less I will get a positive result. So then I try IVF. Oh, I'm sorry. Yes.
So when you are consulting,
don't forget your meat. Keep going.
Thank you.
Keep going.
Are you talking to her? Okay, I was like,
yeah, I gotta take it with me.
All right. When you were consulting the doctors, did they say you are a good candidate for one versus the other? That's why you tried the IUI first versus the IVF, or they say like this is the route that we go, that we do this first before that?
So they did say that I was was a good candidate for IUI because I have a lot of follicles in my ovarian reserve. So with IVF or with
We're in the ghetto.
Yeah.
With PCOS, I don't ovulate, right? So because of that, I have a lot of follicles in my ovarian reserve. So because of that, they wanted to try IUI because I have a lot of follicles. So it's they don't need to go the invasive route initially. Oh, this looks real good. Y'all want to see my meats? See my meats. You see it?
Oh.
Yeah. Your Lamb of God.
Now behold the Lamb.
Hallelujah. Give a couple more minutes. So I did that a couple of rounds. It was unsuccessful. So then around October, I tried of 2017, we decided to do IVF. And with IVF, it's a lot more invasive. I have to take more hormones, so like a whole bunch of shots that I had to take daily. I had to take a lot of progesterone. I had to take shots in my stomach. I had to take shots in my butt. It was just a lot of shots that I had to have. And of course, go to the doctor like every other day to get blood work. So it's very taxing emotionally, not just physically because of all the shots that I had to take and all the blood work I had to give, and they had to check my levels and all of that stuff. But it's very taxing emotionally because all of those hormones are just like being floated around in my body, right? So after my follicles had to turn into eggs and get to a certain size for IVF, and then I had to have surgery so that they can remove all of those eggs. And so they removed all of those eggs. I had to go under anesthesia so that they can remove those eggs, and then they put it with my husband's semen so that they can fertilize them. So they did that separately because my body wasn't able to, when they were inseminating the semen in me, it wasn't working. So they had to take the eggs out of my body and then meet it with the sperm so that they can fertilize. So they took like over 30 something eggs from my body the first time they did it. And then they were able to fertilize like 16. And then by the time, 6 days later, they, I think 13 of them turned into embryos. So I had 13 embryos. So that way I was able to freeze some and then they can inseminate some in me. So the first time I did it, where they implanted eggs in me or fertilized embryos in me, I said I want to do 2. So that way we can just do 2, be done. I can give the rest to science so that they can do what they need to do. But instead, like in the interim, we decided to freeze the rest of those embryos just in case. So they implanted 2 in me, and then I ended up getting pregnant with twins. So that was the cool thing about it, was the first time they did it, the first time they did the insemination and they did the embryo retrieval and all of that, like it was just successful. So that was that. After, do you have any questions? I'm sorry.
Do
Go ahead.
Twins? So you elected to do 2. Could you? Is there a maximum that they will medically allow you to do, or are they like, hey, you want to do 3, 4, 5? Like, it's up to you, or do they say it's safer to do a certain number?
So it was already a risk to do 2. Some people do 2 so that maybe at least one would survive or would implant and grow into a fetus. So that's why a lot of people, when I've done my research and talked to people, a lot of them would try doing multiple to see if at least one would stick. I've seen and heard, you've heard of those stories when they've done IVF and wanted all of the fertilized eggs or embryos to be implanted. My fertility specialist, like they let you know, like immediately, like if you try to do multiple births, like there is a risk, and they don't really condone it. They definitely wouldn't condone 3. So when I told them that I wanted to do 2, I had to fill out extra forms and they had to let me know of the risk and all of that. And I was like, I understood the risk. I want it anyway. So they did it. I really wasn't expecting both of them to take, but they did. And so I ended up Thanksgiving, like the day after Thanksgiving, I went to the doctor and they found 2 heartbeats. So I was officially pregnant with twins. Unfortunately, later on, my body wasn't able to hold twins. So I ended up miscarrying them at 22 weeks, which was another traumatic story at that. But I really wanted to share this part of my story because a lot of Black women specifically, they don't talk about, let me change that. A lot of Black women are expected, I think, and that comes from even back down to slavery. We're expected to have children. Like that's something that we can do well, right? But now it's not really talked about with those women that have difficulty achieving pregnancy or achieving a healthy pregnancy. So and I wanted to share that, and I think I shared it a lot while I was in the journey. I wanted to share it to just let people know and kind of normalize it because it's not something that we talk about because it is very private. And it's such a personal and scary journey. But I think the more we try to decrease the stigma that's attached to it and the shame that we have regarding just infertility, I hope to just be that vessel to kind of share that information with other people. Like it's okay. It is common to go through some type of infertility. I think another thing that really sparked this this idea to talk about it is because like early on in our marriage, people were always telling us like, so when are you having a baby? When are you having a child? When are you gonna have a child? Like all of that. And I was just biting my tongue so much because I knew that I was having difficulty achieving a pregnancy, but I was like, it's none of your business. But you're all up in my business asking me, like, when are you going to have a child? Like, it's just so easy to do.
First, that's mad assumptions to being thrown around. First of all, you're assuming that I want children. Because some people don't want children. Like the expectation automatically is, okay, you get together, you get married. Okay, when y'all having kids, it's like, well, wait a second. You don't even consider the person. Like, consider the person first to see, A, if they want children, and B, then if they may be dealing with infertility issues or whatever. Like, it's just a bad assumption that we do. And I think it's just been passed down from generation to generation, like you said, going back to even times of slavery. It's like, well, we produce. It's like, okay, we got to produce more. Okay, y'all hurry up and produce more. Now, next generation, y'all hurry up and produce more. Produce. And it's like, that's not really considerate of the people that you're talking to.
Yeah, and I think that it adds to people's shame because even though you might get, you feel like it's none of your business, you still are taking on people's expectations of you. And if you feel like I'm not meeting people's expectations, now I'm dealing with this guilt plus the guilt of this plus the guilt of, when people really just don't know what to say out their mouth.
And I think it's genuine. Like they want to know, like, oh, we want to see this for you, or we, have these ideas for you or whatever. But they really don't know what people deal with in their own personal lives. And because you don't, the question probably should be like, hey, are you all thinking about having kids, or do you want children, or, have that type of conversation as opposed to when you're having kids, because then
people automatically assuming that it's the woman's fault, that the woman's issue that she can't have kids. He might be the one shooting blanks. Why it got to be on me?
So
with that, they also had to test semen as well, to check for motility, to check for just the potency. They not just checked me, but they wanted to check that person as well to see if there were any issues. So that I appreciate that about my fertility center, because they were thorough and not and it kind of lessened the shame that I had to, like, okay, they want to check everyone. It's not just me. It's the whole, because it takes two people to make a baby, right?
Yeah.
And I want you to talk about, I know you and I have had this conversation before, but talk about how, like, you got diagnosed with PCOS in 2017, but how you've always, like, your menstrual cycle always was never regular, but you never thought early on, because I have a lot of friends in the same situations who are happy. We get happy because we ain't got to deal with. But
and so when I was younger, like, I started my menstrual cycle probably right before 13. So I was regular up until for like a year. And then I started getting irregular, where it was coming every once in a while, coming like maybe every 6 to 9 months. I would go to the doctor or go see my gynecologist. He would give me medication for it to come and kind of kickstart it. And then it would come and it would go through that cycle where it would be regular, and then it would trickle down every 3 months, every 6 months, every 9 months. And then I would have to regularly take medication to get it kickstarted for it to come again. Once I went to college, I started taking birth control so that it would come more frequently. But I realized after consistently taking the birth control, I was getting a lot of psychological issues where I was feeling really depressed. I was having suicidal ideation. It was a little too much. And so once I returned home from college, I discontinued taking it because I didn't like the effects of it, and I didn't put 2 and 2 together until.
Is that a side effect of birth control?
Depression is.
Wow, I didn't know.
I didn't know that
Depending on the birth control, like I was taking tricycline low. And so that was one of the symptoms, and I didn't put 2 and 2 together until afterwards. So then I stopped taking it. But so once I stopped taking it, of course, I just had to be careful and stuff. But I still didn't realize that there was a concern, that there was an issue. You never really realize that in this case, unless there are other symptoms of PCOS, because there's like weight loss, there's you're very hairy, weight gain, you're very hairy, you have more masculine features and stuff like that. I didn't get in many of those, besides like my weight always constantly fluctuating and just not having a cycle.
Now you said you get hairy and masculine.
Like just some masculine feature, masculine.
Like what? Like what is a? Because I just imagine, like, I don't know, and forgive my ignorance. She already shaking your head. I'm just saying, like, you saying masculine, like your voice, or like what is a?
Yeah, so you'll have a lot more like testosterone.
Okay.
Like
okay.
You got like people who like are really hairy,
like right here, and just stubble and stuff like that. So not just hair, like hairy arms, but like hair right here, hair in your like just very like.
That mustache. Okay, so I know some people. You don't have that, but like you said, I know some people that I would be like. So when I was younger, I remember a few people that would. Now you always got that big mama who got that little curl on the chin, or
not talking about big mama,
neck hair or whatever, and I'd be like, you didn't know, but maybe that was a side effect.
But people don't know.
Apologize. Nope. She still make good mac and cheese. Go ahead.
People don't know. A lot of people don't know or get tested or checked until it either is causing a lot of health concerns, like during your adolescence, or until you're trying to have a child and you realize that you're doing things to have a child, but you're not getting pregnant. Mm-hmm. So I've never really had a consistent menstrual cycle. So that led to once they did all these tests and stuff, they saw that I wasn't testing positive for anything else. So they ruled out everything and said that I have PCOS because I don't have anything else. Mm-hmm. And then they saw all of these resting follicles in my fallopian tubes or in my ovaries that showed that none of them were developing and passing down. So I have a lot of ovarian reserve, as opposed to there are some people that have fertility issues that don't have enough follicles or enough in their ovarian reserve. And I'm the opposite. I have a lot, but they don't grow into eggs and drop.
So one thing I will mention that you mentioned earlier, like when you were going through this, I will say that I was educated. Eric would probably say the same thing. Like we was talking about follicles and IUIs and DUIs and DWIs and everything else we was talking about. And it was like there was so much information that I know I didn't know before.
I became a doctor through your process. Like I wanted to say, I just appreciate what you like. You was like expressive, like transparent with us to like where we're learning these terms and like learning these words and like all these conditions. And it's like a lot of people don't notice. And it's like you just took that step to open up and like to share it with us. And I was like, man, like I can go for my doctorate right now. And like the doctorate.
I'm not gonna say that, but I could at least hold the conversation with somebody regarding the subject and not feel completely ignorant because
or you can become more sensitive because you don't know what Black folk are going through. And even to take it a step further, a lot of women can't afford those additional, and I don't even want to ask you how much it costs, but
how much it costs, Kyla?
So here's the thing. With IUI and IVF and any fertility, it's fortunately we live in a state where it's covered through our insurance.
Illinois, yeah.
In other states like Texas, for instance, there's no coverage at all. And I think Louisiana, there are a few states that have no coverage for IVF or fertility. So they have to either go through clinical trials or they have to pay out of pocket. Fortunately, it's covered through my insurance. It's still like there was still out of pocket costs and I still had to meet my max deductible. But another good thing about my fertility center is IUI is a lot significantly less than IVF. So they wanted me to go through those rounds of IUI first so that I can meet my max, so that when I went to IVF, I had already met my max, so anything after that will be fully covered.
That's good because you just sometimes get medical professionals that just be doing anything and it's costing tens of thousands of dollars.
That's actually happened with, I know we're going to talk about this on a different episode, but when my father, when he was having problems with his bean, they was going to one doctor and they were just trying to throw him on dialysis.
That's kidney, y'all. For all y'all don't know. We talk about Eric's bean.
Yeah. Just for insight, my father had kidney failure and they were trying to put him on dialysis, this one doctor. And then my father, I don't know who said, either my father or mother, like, let's check out another doctor. And they went to a whole different doctor because that doctor's like, oh, just go on dialysis because they wanted the money. But they went to another doctor and it's like, bro, you can save this kidney. And come to find out, then that process. But that's another episode. We can
America.
So Kyla,
with IUI, it was probably like between 5 to 10,000, but then IVF is like maybe 13 to 15 grand, because you have to take more medication, you have to get more shots, and then after I was pregnant, I had to take more shots for like my first 10 weeks so that I could sustain the pregnancy. And then the procedure itself, so I had to go through anesthesia. They had to remove all of the eggs that were up to a certain size out of my ovaries, and then just all the entire procedure alone, like that was probably like 15 to 20 stacks. Like it was pretty expensive.
So do you still have the other embryos?
Mm-hmm.
Is it a cost for you to keep, like, do you have to pay to keep those?
So after my miscarriage, that same year, probably later on towards the year, I did another like implantation where they gave me it was a frozen embryo at this time because they were all being frozen, but it didn't take. So after that, I was like, I need a break. So they're all being frozen right now. And so I have to pay an annual fee every to keep them frozen.
Interesting.
So I have 10 embryos in a cryopreservation chamber.
Okay.
Yeah, I mean, just that information alone, I know listeners would probably be educated, because I know I had very little knowledge or reference point or information regarding the subject, and so I appreciate your transparency.
Because I knew nothing.
Yeah.
I knew nothing.
Absolutely.
So here was another thing. I really wanted to talk about it with the people in my circle during that time, because all of the medication that I was taking had me in a whole nother like dimension. I was crying all the time. I was angry, like I was cussing out people like on the street when I was walking work. I was just like on a whole nother level emotionally. So I knew that it was going to come from the research that I've done and the people that I've talked to. So I had to like warn the people that I was around, like, hey, even my coworkers that I talk to frequently, I'm like, hey, just to let you know, I'm about to take a whole bunch of medication and I'm going to look like the Michelin Man, and I'm probably going to cry if you said the sky is blue. Don't be weary. It's normal right now. Yeah. So I wanted to let you guys know, because you guys were people that I was talking to all the time. So you were going to know, like, I didn't want you guys to think like this nigga tripping. But
did they recommend, as your specialist, that they recommend any type of support for you, like groups or anything while you were going through the process? Is that like a requirement?
So they did. There was some yoga as well, but all of that stuff costs, and I was already paying an arm and a leg for this procedure in the first place. So I really wanted to be creative and find some things that worked for me. So in addition to like church and all of that stuff, like I talked to you all, my circle, and then I did a couple of videos, just talk about it, and again, normalize this stigma, because it's something that people don't talk about. So I wanted to do videos, and I wanted to show the injections that I had to get, all of the medication that I had to have. I even did some clips of one of my cousins who's a nurse that gave me some injections, because I had to do it daily. I had to take multiple, like 3 injections every day for like a good 3 weeks, and then I had to take another injection in my butt like for 10 weeks. Every day for 10 weeks. So like I didn't take videos of that, but I wanted to just, show that journey to let people know, like, it's a lot of work. It's not easy. But if it's something that you want, it's something
you go through
you got to do in order to achieve this.
So, dang, we can just go on forever, but just to wrap it up, like, what advice?
Eric said, "Shut up. That's enough."
We can talk about this forever. We not though. That's what I'm gonna say.
I didn't say it like that.
You had to start making it about you. You could have heard more from Kyla.
Questions.
But you started making it about you for a whole minute.
It was
we were
just
listening.
45 seconds.
I mean, we're gonna talk about this later, but let me tell you about it right now.
You did like shifted. It was about me.
Just made it about you. It's fine. You got your arms out. You want to be seen on the Zoom. You know.
So you want to wrap it up, baby. So what?
But I did want to ask one more question. I'm sorry, before we wrap it up. This is ain't nobody got nothing to do but watch this. Sorry. So y'all gonna get these 2 hours. I don't care. But my other question is, like, for someone, like, what would be your recommendation or your advice that you would give to a couple or to the woman who's thinking about it? Like, what are some things that you wish you had known going in, or do you feel like you were extremely prepared?
That's what I was about to ask, but thank you, Crystal.
You're welcome.
Really.
Right, record. He wasn't finna ask that. No.
That's what time different world come on.
Have a good circle of people that, like, you may not want to make it public, and tell the whole world, like, hey, I'm having IVF. Put me on your prayer list. But at least have a good circle of people that you trust, that you can talk to and just let them know what's going on. I will also suggest talking to people that have gone through the journey. And I think it was really cool. After I started talking about it, like, people were coming to me saying, like, hey, this is something that I've thought about. This is something that I want to do. I'm going through something similar. Can you? And they would start asking, like, more questions to kind of get that support. So find those people that you can talk to and that you can trust to give you that information and can give it to you raw, because this is like, it was really scary. And I really had to be in a good space to do it, because, you know, mentally it really took me through. And ask a lot of questions. I did a lot of research, and I spoke to my doctors. I also there were some good people that I went to high school with that were going through similar things, and they were like, well into the process. So I was talking to them and asking them about the medication. Like, have you tried this medication? How does this medication work for you? What are some of the side effects that you've experienced? I just wanted to know as much as I could, so that, because I have anxiety, so I wanted to be as prepared as I could, so that I can anticipate everything that was about to happen. So I think that's the main thing, is just to really, if you feel comfortable talking to people, talk to them and ask a lot of questions, because it's a process, and there are times, and be prepared that the first IVF insemination may not work. It may work. Everything is like a crapshoot. Like, you don't know what to expect. So really take some time for yourself and talk to people about it and do your research.
I have a follow-up question to that too, because we talked a little bit.
Is Eric saying that you have the time to ask?
Forget your meat is on the grill.
I know. Thanks.
The follow-up question to that is, we talked about getting rid of the stigma, and I know for me, until like you are probably different in different ways, like from some people. So you were okay with talking about what you were going through and what you were experiencing. And you may have some people that just are completely opposite. Like, I don't want to talk about it. I don't want to let you in. I don't want to deal with it. But it's like, we want to be encouraging, or we want to educate ourselves. because I know for a while I didn't know like what to say, and Eric may be able to, emphasize this as well, is that like I didn't know what we should talk about, what we should say, what we should ask. I didn't want to trigger you. I didn't want to be like say the wrong thing. Like, do you have? How do we open up that conversation?
If Rucker didn't know what to say, I definitely did not know.
Eric was not saying anything.
I wasn't saying nothing.
I would be like,
my presence.
Hey, Eric.
Looking at my phone like.
He would like it. Like, yeah, that's
he would message. Like it, yeah. What he said.
Or he would repeat what somebody else said. He would copy and paste the message and resend it.
I'd be like, man, how you doing today on Tuesday? Eric be like, Tuesday. So how you doing? What in the plagiarism of feelings is going on here?
You really won't know what someone is going through until they say it or until they let you know. So I guess I would suggest, like, if they reveal it to you, ask them, like, well, how do you want me to support you? How can I support you? That will give you an answer regarding, like, if they want to continue talking about it. If they're like me and they're like totally open and they want those questions so that you can get more understanding, or just thoughts and prayers. Mm-hmm. So really just asking them, like, how can I support you? I think would give you some idea of how to navigate this with that person.
That's fair.
Yeah, I think that's a good question, period, for any. I think it's always good to to not assume what people need, but just ask them what they need. And they might, and a lot of times you're uncomfortable because you're afraid of the answer. Mm-hmm. And even if the answer is, I don't want you to support me at all, you got to be okay with, okay, girl.
Yeah, that's the role that you play. And don't take it personal, right? Because it ain't about you. Ain't nobody coming to see you, Otis.
But if that's if what you need is me, not me, then I need to ask you. Or if what you need is more of me, then that's what I need. Mm-hmm. And you actually should mean it when you ask it. You know how people say, "Well, how can I support you?" No, I can't support you. I can't support you like that.
I need about $10 of gas in my car. Oh, well, I'm gonna pray for you. I didn't ask for prayers.
And to Chris's point, you have to. If someone says how they can be supported, like, you have to be open to that.
Yeah.
Or just don't ask, because if you can't
and follow through. That was something that I appreciated from all of you, is that you followed through. It wasn't just like, okay, I'm gonna pray for you and keep it like that. Like, you were open to wanting to know more and to support this journey. So it made me feel like I wasn't fully alone, even though I was the one getting all the shots and all the injections and getting all the blood work and all of that. Like, you guys were invested with me. So that was something that I appreciated. And that was something that I needed. That worked for me. It may not work for other people. Mm-hmm. So really asking that person, like, how can we support you, will really help you figure out what to do to support that person.
Mm-hmm. Like, I'm horrible when it comes to words and showing emotions. Like, horrible. But even, like, I'm better with action. And then there was times where I knew where Kyla was in the hospital, and I was like, I know I can't say nothing, but I could show my face. Mm-hmm. Like, just showing my face, just saying, hey, I'm here. I don't know what to say.
Oh, he ain't gonna say nothing.
I'm not.
But to Eric's credit, rather, he's gotten a lot better as he's gotten older with being okay with being uncomfortable. Like, because there'd be a time where Eric would just be like,
all right, I'm out.
All right.
It's done.
But I think it's important, I think that's the beauty to me of friendship, because you have to know everybody's journey and everybody's situation is not going to be the same. And so just having someone in our circle who deals with something that I, because I'm on the spectrum of I don't necessarily desire children. So in my selfishness, I could easily, because I'll never ask Kyla when you having kids, because that's not on my radar. I don't want them. So why am I asking you when you're, I could care less about someone else having something that I don't want. I ask her about Louis bags and Gucci purses. That's what I care about. So
when you get your next Louis bag?
But these
I'll have you know I don't want a Louis bag. Don't assume.
But these are conversations that we have.
I want a Gucci bag.
But it absolutely just opens my eyes, and it even opened my eyes to having certain conversations with my friends who have similar health concerns, who I know that desperately desire children. And I'm like, hey sis, like, because we don't like going to the doctor anyway.
Absolutely not.
And by we, I mean us. And so it helped me to encourage her to really, if that's something that you are praying to God for, like you want a child, you want, maybe there's something that you should start looking into now and researching now, because I would hate for, you to just continue living this way. And then another bomb is dropped, something that you could have started working on sooner. So, I just think it's important, even for men, because now you guys will be much more sensitive. You'll be more sensitive with your daughters. Eric will be more sensitive with the women that it's just about sensitivity and really getting a better understanding to me. Because I've met, Kyla is one, and then one of my close sorority sisters, she had twins through in vitro, and it was something I had never. I'm like, so what?
Yeah.
What was that like? And so she, just goes through this whole, and she had children later on. So she didn't have children. She had children when she was like 40. Like that's when she went through. And so her situation was even different. So it just makes you a lot more sensitive to where I'm very cautious now about the whole children birth conversation. I'm just very cautious about it.
Yeah, you don't want to assume. You don't want to just, because that's what we do. We just make assumptions and just.
Oh yeah.
And see, I never wanted people to walk on eggshells with me, but I didn't want people to assume. So like even at church, when people were asking me like, well, when are you gonna have children? When are you gonna put some babies in that oven? I would legit go up to them and was like, what if I can't have children?
Yeah, I think the natural reaction of people is to just
church people.
Is
Let's
to
be
walk.
specific.
What if I can't?
No. I'm saying something different.
What if I can't have them?
I'm saying something different. I think after you find out that there may be complications to having children, I think the natural reaction of people is to walk on eggshells. Like you're different. Again, you're different because you're willing and ready to have the conversation. But when people hear like, oh, I'm having difficulty or this has happened, they automatically freeze up and be like, oh, well, what do I say now? And going back to what you said, like just have the conversation and ask, how can I support you or how can I help you? Whatever, I think opens the door to healthy dialogue about it.
I was fortunate enough to have people that would ask me like, okay, or would start asking like, is it okay if I start asking you questions? And I'm like, sure. But then on the adverse, there were people that like looked at me as if I had an issue. So that was sad, but I think that's because people don't know what to say. Mm-hmm. And so they perceive me as like there's something wrong with me. And that's something that I had to navigate because for years I felt like, and I'm slowly trying to transition out of that. But for years I felt like there was something wrong with me because I'm a woman. I'm supposed to have children. Like I have sex. I got married. I did everything traditionally, and I'm supposed to be pregnant by now. And so that's not happening. So what's wrong with me? So it's taken a lot of work to overcome that. And I will not allow anyone to put that in my area because I've worked very hard to overcome that.
Just be sensitive out here.
Yeah.
Just be sensitive out here, folks, because it's just like, and that's just, and I know we said we talk about it at some point too, but mental health in the Black community just has this stigma of like, we don't talk about it, or we pray it away, or or something wrong with you. It's like, I'm normal. If I have depression or I have anxiety or something, I'm still normal. If I have PCOS, I'm still normal. If I have whatever thoughts are, I'm still normal. So like, but we, unfortunately, as a people, start stigmatizing it, or we try to diminish it. We try to diminish it as if it ain't real, so to speak. Like, oh, girl, you ain't got no anxiety. You just need take a collard green, rub it on your chest. You're gonna be fine.
Just drink that pot liquor.
Right. Get you some ginger ale. And we don't really give it the attention that it really deserves, or the seriousness that it really deserves. And we have to be better with that.
Yeah.
So if I could, just do my part, that's just my main goal in my efforts to just really share and normalize something that we keep hidden for so long.
Mm-hmm.
I remember at a certain point, Eric and I were literal like bodyguards. Like because there would be situations where people we know those people that's going to come say something ignorant or stupid. And she was like, Barack, we'd be like, oh, wait, what do you need? What do you need? Your mama? Okay, come on. It's just because it's the foolishness. Like, you don't know what that person, like you just explained, you don't know what that person is going to go through mentally when you say whatever you say. Like you said, the thoughts of what's wrong with me, or you start internalizing these things, and the mind is a wonderful, amazing, crazy thing, but people don't understand how that affects you.
Yeah.
But when everybody gone and it's just you and your thoughts.
Mm-hmm.
So.
Yeah, people don't think about, this could have been an argument me and my husband just had, or this could have been a fight that and now you come and asking me a question. And like Ruckus said earlier, I really don't think that people have any ill intention when they ask certain questions. I just think that they believe that it's natural, but I also want to hold people accountable, and that don't just say things to try to start conversation with me.
Be considerate.
If you have a specific question you want to ask me, ask me. But when y'all having kids, that's just because you don't have anything else
when
to
your
say.
mammy having them.
Mm-hmm.
Oh.
You don't have that response. Why you still single? Or
why you on your fourth baby daddy?
Or you cute, you a big girl.
What was wrong with the first or second one?
You a cute big girl. Why you not married? Like, when you say things,
because your husband keep
just to say it.
When you say things just because you don't have anything else to say,
don't say it.
That's what I want to hold people accountable to.
Keep it to yourself, bro.
That's it.
Yeah.
That's it.
Yeah. For sure.
All right, Eric.
Eric, it's on you. Shoulders.
Chest, pants, shoes. My bad.
Got a cut off hoodie.
Wipe yourselves down, okay? It's germs out here. Wipe yourselves
always
down.
Alcohol on.
Get you a Rocky.
Cheers.
That concludes our first Rona edition episode. Follow us on Instagram. I forgot. We got so much stuff that you can be following us on.
It's only 2.
Black Planet.
I mean, I saw a Black Planet or Christian Mingle page for us.
It's only 2. Follow us on Instagram at the Diplomat Podcast. No S, the Diplomat Podcast. Follow us on Facebook at the Diplomats with an S Podcast. Follow us individually at DJK Mace, at Gordon_Gartrell, at The Third Row, and at I'm Eric. I don't know what his name is.
He almost had it.
Almost. Listen, I was like, oh, she's the real MVP. She is the real MVP. First of all, you do change.
I'm just Eric.
I'm just Eric.
Good job.
Is that it? Yeah.
Yes.
I'm just Eric. Also, if you have questions or comments, if you want to ask Kyla any questions, please feel free to DM her if they're personal. If not, you can post them on this video that will be posted on this Zoom. We need some guests next time.
Yes.
Doing Zoom. We might as well invite some folks too.
You know what? Let's bring in some of the ladies of Delta Phi Delta to talk about Eric's movies or lack thereof.
What you say?
So anyway, yes, if you have any questions, any whatsoever, if you feel like you're uncomfortable to post it publicly, feel free to DM me. I think it's I'm not Gordon _Gartrell.
You can do the they can send it to our email.
Yeah, or you can just DM me at Gordon Gartrell, Gartrell, no E at the end. So you can ask me any questions. I'm more than open.
Now,
to assist.
There's a caveat. Don't get disrespectful in these comments. We will respond to your comments if you get disrespectful. There was
I'm all about it.
There's a little buddy that got disrespectful on a post recently.
Who did it?
Didn't nobody know what's his name? I don't even know his name. That's how important you was. You a non-fact. So
my daddy said.
Shout out to Nate Mason. I didn't cuss.
I didn't do it.
I didn't do it.
We didn't do it.
I didn't say nothing. But we've been warned. I'm sorry, we've been threatened.
We didn't do it.
By Brother Mason not to be using certain language on the show. So we're going to try to adhere to that.
All right, y'all.
All right, till next time.
Bye.
Smile.
Are we smiling?